You're listening to All Hands on Tech. Come along as we get to know the people and businesses behind the province's ever-expanding tech sector.
Each episode, we'll chat with local experts to uncover the hidden gems that make Nova Scotia a hub for collaboration, innovation, and creativity.
All Hands on Tech is proudly produced by Digital Nova Scotia, the industry association for Nova Scotia's growing tech sector.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of All Hands on Tech. I'm Eilish.
And I'm Ashley. Today, we're diving into the future of technology with a special focus on an event that's set to shape the industry in profound ways, the 2024 Atlantic Technology Summit.
That we certainly are. Now, this year's theme, Innovate, Integrate, Empower, Human-Centric Solutions for a Connected World. It's all about pushing the boundaries of technology in ways that really matter to people. It's focused on creating innovations that truly meet human needs, bringing together different technologies in a seamless way, and empowering both individuals and communities by enhancing how we connect with each other.
Joining us now to talk more about this year's event is Calvino Anderson. He's the Vice President of Sales at Gallagher and one of the key organizers behind this incredible summit. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
Of course, we're happy to jump on into this. Of course, the actual summit is coming up pretty soon, which is very exciting. But before we jump into the thick of all of that, are you okay if we usually start each podcast with a couple icebreakers?
I guess so.
Not that you have much of a choice here, but okay, this one, Ashley did make fun of me. I sent her these questions ahead of time. She made fun of me for wanting to ask this, but I have a bit of a different name with Eilish, so I wanted to actually know the history behind your name, Calvino. It's great. It just rolls off the tongue. It's a great one, but what is the history of it?
That's a great question. No one's asked me that for a long time. Yeah. So both my dads are Italian. Oh, both my grandfathers are Italian, mum and dad's side. So my mum was not married to my dad, so I've got my mum's maiden name, which was the English name, Anderson. But Calvino obviously is an Italian name, so Calvino Vincenzo, first and middle name. The name Calvino itself, though, is typically a surname in Italy. And it actually means bald, B-A-L-D. So
really?
I was
You were set up to...
I was hooped right from the start, right? I had no hope, but yeah.
It didn't even give you a chance.
It didn't even give me a chance.
I love that.
Low blow, straight away.
There is actually a story there. I love that.
This is what
I was like, if you asked me that question, I'd be like, I don't know. My mom just liked the name Ashley.
I know offense, but Ashley, Calvino.
I know. It's a nicer name.
Not nicer name, just a different name.
Okay, I got the next one. Would you rather have a job where you can only use email or one where you can only use phone calls for communication?
That's a good question as well. Has to be phone calls.
Yeah.
Has to be phone calls. Yeah, you need some interaction with people. Like email is good if you don't want to engage too much and take your time, but you need some human to human conversation.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I do like I have a goldfish memory, so I like having that's something that I can look back on in an email. But you're right, being able to connect, because you never know how people are reading into what you're saying.
And sometimes people, straight up, they're just like ignoring you.
Yeah, exactly.
I need this answer now.
You end up sending all these emails, no response.
Yeah, exactly.
As per my last email.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your go-to productivity hack that you just swear by?
I'm still searching. I just try lots of different things. It depends on the day, right? I actually find when I get up early, I get outside, I start moving, then my days are better. When I'm trying to just lock myself in the office and plow through it, it's not as effective as sometimes you think it might be, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I totally get that too.
That's a good reminder, because I always just office days are so hard, I just I'm glued to my laptop. I'm like, go take a walk or something, Yeah.
And I find it's always the worst when the experts are actually right that, exercise does good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. This is fun. If you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would it be and why?
It'd be back to Italy.
Yeah?
Absolutely. I just feel at home there. It's my place. It's relaxing. It's the great food, the weather. What's
Now,
not,
Italy
what's
is
not
pretty.
to like?
I agree with that. I've been to Italy twice, but like, do you have a specific area that you go to or prefer?
Yeah, like central southern. So
Okay.
like anywhere kind of south of Rome down to kind of the Amalfi Coast region, which is,
I haven't gone to the Amalfi Coast yet.
Oh, you need to.
I need to go so bad.
Yeah, do it.
It looks gorgeous.
I'm taking all of the tips,
Yeah.
hints, and everything for our honeymoon. We haven't started planning yet, but I
It's a
think
great
that
spot.
would be, that would be. It's on the top of the list for sure.
Can't go wrong with
When
Italy.
was the last time you were there?
2 months ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you see yourself like at any point in time moving back there permanently?
Maybe when it gets to kind of retirement age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about full time, but certainly like 3 or 4 months a year would be good there.
A good spot to be a snowbird.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes.
Nice. Okay, we're going to switch gears here now and start to learn a little bit about the summit in just a moment. But first, I want to touch on you outside of your role as an organizer of the Technology Summit.
Okay.
Let's talk about what you do at Gallagher.
Yeah, so Gallagher Insurance, we're the third largest insurance brokerage in the world.
And a DNS member.
And a DNS member. Yeah, absolutely. It's very important.
Yeah.
Because our kind of business model is we've gone kind of expanded across the world by acquiring little regional brokerages when those owners want to retire or move on or do something else. So here locally, we've got over 100 years of local presence with the brokerages that we've acquired. Bell and Grant, Fraser and Hoyt, names that people would know.
Yeah.
So we are very much part of the local community. My role is I'm the VP of Sales for Atlantic Canada. And so we've got a team of 26 producers, brokers that are out there servicing, supporting local businesses. And from a tech perspective, the cyberspace is a big growth area for us and a big risk that businesses have to face today. So we really enjoy kind of helping organizations assess their risks, manage their risks, make sure they've got the right policies and coverages in place, as well as the right technical solutions as well. And
Do you find that businesses in Nova Scotia are really catching on to the importance of like cyber insurance?
They are,
Yeah.
for sure. It's been slow, and insurance is one of those things where nobody wants to pay for it.
Yeah.
There's no fun in insurance initially, right? But you need to have it in case or when something happens.
Yeah, and I think, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think they know like the consequences of not having it are so huge. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's countless examples in the news, right? We see these different organizations get hit, and the breaches run into the millions. So
it's wild. Yeah.
It's fun, like it's just like very true to the insurance need that like you pay for it, you're mad that you're paying for it, but then
When you need it.
all
yeah.
of that money just makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
You can justify it. Okay, so we touched on that side of your life. Let's go to the other side, your alter ego. So the 2024 Atlantic Technology Summit back in Halifax once again and happening soon, November 20th, right?
correct, yeah.
Okay, hit me with all of the details. Give us a little bit of an overview about what we can expect from this year.
Yeah, so I think it's our sixth year this year, which is
Wow.
fantastic. Back in person, live at the Cineplex in Park Lane, which we just love as a venue. It's really unique, creates kind of a fun atmosphere, very close and personal for networking. The idea behind it was really creating this independent forum where people from all sectors of the tech sector can come together, share ideas, network, meet different vendors, meet different people, learn from industry-leading experts, bringing in some people from outside of the region, so just to create this like hive of noise and activity and collaboration around the tech sector, which is so important for us in the region, right? And for, again, touches on all organizations really today. So.
Well, I can say I've been to the past 2 years. I've been to the event. It's something that DNS sponsors and we look forward to every year. It really is a premier event. Can you give me a little bit of his? So 6th year, like what was the drive? I know you kind of like touched on it, but like what, was there just like a gap in, you wanted to bring this here, an event for people to come together, or just the history a little?
So it really started even pre that, if I'm honest. It went back to probably 3 or 4 years prior to that. I went for a beer after work with 2 other guys that I know from different tech companies. We went to Moxie's for a couple of beers. We spent the evening chatting about stuff we saw in the industry. And then we started the Halifax IT meetup group. So we were like, hey, let's do this every couple of weeks. And so that group grew to 1,500 members in and around Halifax. And up until before the pandemic, we were probably still meeting fairly regularly. But at some point during that process, it was like, there was a demand and an interest from the members to, hey, let's do a full day event.
Yeah.
So we just kind of got a little committee together and we started planning the first one.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, good for you, because it's such a huge undertaking. Like the event there's a lot going on day
There's
of,
a
you
lot
know?
that goes
Yeah.
on. Yeah. It's, and if you ask me kind of this time every year, I kind of,
Get a little
I'm losing what little hair's left. Yeah.
living up to that name.
Living up to the name. Yeah.
Okay, well, as one of the key organizers then, if you can kind of tell us a little bit about the driving vision behind this year's theme. Tell me a little bit about what it means to you, and then, of course, just, kind of the tech industry as a whole, especially here in Atlantic Canada. I mean, obviously at DNS, we know what we have and the gem that we kind of have in our backyard, but I feel like maybe it's not as well known, like across even the country and then, of course, globally.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I guess, if I think of the theme and this year, it's if you're a tech company or a tech group and you're deploying new technologies, the rate of change, the speed you have to do things, the demand on your organization, they're ever increasing. So how do we balance that need to innovate, the need to keep growing, the need to keep moving forward with the human aspect? How are we making sure we're empowering people with the right tools, the right technologies, the right cultures, whilst keeping up with the change, right? So that's really what the theme means to me. When I look at it from a regional perspective, I would say you're absolutely right. I think, we are a sleeping giant in some ways. We've got a great community here locally, has a profound impact across the region. And it's starting to be known across Canada, across North America, for sure. But I think we have to keep telling it. It's not a one and done. We don't just tell the story once and walk away. It's a constant reminder, because again, things change fast in the tech sector. So,
oh my gosh, yeah. I'm just thinking about even things that we're thinking about at DNS that we need to do, that we did maybe a couple years ago. That's like, it's time to do this again, Yeah. Anyways, okay, so the summit promises a focus on human-centric solutions. So can you just elaborate kind of what that means to you and why it's important for the future of technology?
Yeah, I think whenever you've got a team or an organization that's running hard, running fast, trying to grow, burnout's a real issue. Burnout's a real issue. How are you managing the team? What is the culture like? Are we using the technology to replace jobs? Are we using the technology to enhance jobs? These are real issues, right? So I think the really successful organizations and companies and individuals will be the ones that leverage the tools in the right way. And I don't think it's just, hey, we can lay off 10 people now. That's not the vision. It's how are we using this to grow?
Right.
And help people be better, help our customers, help the region. So that's really the human-centered bit.
Yeah.
Making sure that we're building these teams, these cultures, and deploying technologies with that in mind.
Which I think is really top of mind for so many people. I mean, coming from the industry that we came from of journalism, all you're hearing about right now is cuts and layoffs. And I think that's happening across a lot of different sectors. And when you can, build an AI assistant that, essentially does a job, I'm sure that probably weighs on folks that are, within the tech sector. Yeah,
it weighs on the people whose jobs potentially could be lost. It weighs on the people that have to make the decisions to use the technologies, the ones that, where do we draw the line? How do we deploy it effectively?
Yeah, you kind of touched on what I was going to say was everyone is talking about artificial intelligence right now. So I kind of like that you flipped it on its head a bit and you're like, okay, well, how can we still have the human at the center of what we're talking about? Because I think that's so important. As you said, AI is a great tool, but not a replacement. So love it.
And even just what you had kind of mentioned earlier when you talked about needing that human contact too, even whether it's a phone call or an email, right? You lose that when you start to rely solely on these technologies. Yeah. Interesting. You kind of touched a little bit, I think, on some of the topics that are going to be highlighted during the summit, but can you kind of expand a little bit on, again, on what folks can expect to be, chatting about?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really divided into two main tracks. So we've got kind of the general kind of overarching business track. Then we have kind of a secondary track, which is divided into two as well. That's going to be half technical and half focused for students. Okay. So the student bit is going to be on, what tools do they need as they entering the workforce? How can they grow their career, start their career? The technical bit is kind of where I don't like to use the word geeks, but some people are really technical. They truly like to dig deep into stuff and want to get technical about a product or a solution or how something should be done. And then the general business one is obviously going to include a little bit of everything, but very much for everybody to kind of benefit from and understand, but focused out at kind of be a little higher level from a business perspective. How does this impact an organization? What trends should they be looking at? When I think of specific topics, we've got a great keynote. Cherry Rose Tan's our keynote, and she's going to be talking very much around what we just touched on there, like, the human aspect of building a team and an organization. And she's got a fantastic story, which, I look forward to everyone hearing. It's going to be very, very good. Yeah. But we've also got, our CIO panel that we do every year. That's always a big hit, where we have really top leaders from the different local organizations talking about the trends and challenges that they see related to the theme. So yeah, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a very good day.
Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to?
Yeah.
I mean, the keynote for me is always, it's always a good one. It's when you bring, we've got so many great speakers and talent here locally, but when you bring somebody from out of the region that isn't heard here before, that really excites me. Especially when they tailor it to something that's very relevant here.
Yeah.
Because we that expertise and perspective, I think is the word I'm looking for from
sure.
outside of the region, is very important.
And then just get to show off, who we talked about, maybe not being able to spread our word quite as well, or being known, across the country, but then we get to show off what we actually have here.
And these people do go away and they say, hey, I was at this great conference in Halifax. And
I have a kind of side question. Are you part of the selection committee for who the speakers are? Or I'm just curious how hard that job is to decide who you're going to have speak day of.
We have a subcommittee that's part of that. I mean, I think we all get involved in the keynote, as a group. But we have kind of a subcommittee that gets involved in selecting that, and we get lots of submissions. I will say it's still open. So if people have a topic they want to talk about and they feel like they've got a story to share or something that will be valuable to the audience, please submit it through our website. It's still open. Not long left now, though. But
I just imagine you probably get such a wide range of folks and topics, and it must be hard to figure out what's the right fit for this event. And
it really comes back to trying to align it with the theme. That's the key.
Yeah,
I really like that. Just this connection piece for me really is what just stands out. That you're really trying to drive home the fact that, because I think technology, there's so many opportunities to work remotely, which I think a lot of people are really interested in, especially in a post-pandemic world. Not that we're really post-pandemic yet, but just this idea that to get everybody together in the same room, to have that meeting of the minds. I just that to me is just the most exciting part of it. But as somebody who's not attended yet,
I agree. I think that's exactly the same for me. Yeah.
It's a nice connection, and I think an industry that can be a little secluded at times.
Absolutely. And if you think of the traditional old IT person from 25 years ago, they were perhaps in the basement, in the server room. They were even isolated then, in some ways, right? And now IT is prevalent throughout all aspects of a business, so it should be more connected.
Absolutely. Can you kind of walk us through what does the day look like? So say somebody like myself who hasn't actually attended a summit yet. What does it kind of look like? What should I expect from the moment that I walk in the door? Do I get to choose what workshops, what speakers I'm going to be listening to? What does the day kind of play out as?
So you as you come in, it's very much straight into the Cineplex kind of feel and experience. Very bright, very open, there's some good atmosphere from the vendors and the other attendees. You definitely get to choose which tracks you want to. The first couple of tracks, everybody's really kind of in the main auditorium. So we have some good opening remarks. We have a keynote there. Then we kind of start to split off into the different tracks. So you get to choose what's right for you. Nice. Because sometimes people want to bounce around a little bit, and
And then there's going to be booths again this year, right?
There will be booths.
Yeah, so you'll have to stop by the DNS booth, of course.
Absolutely.
But that's also a great opportunity, in between sessions and obviously during the lunch break to just check out some local or not even local. Some of these companies are coming in from out of the area as well. So it's great.
We get a great selection of vendors that really come and support the event. And you're right, it's a mix of local, national, international organizations. And sometimes they're flying in themselves. They're not from the region, right? So they get to meet people and they can share kind of what they're thinking and what their organization's doing. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to network and meet and chat. And the nice thing about the venue is, it does encourage that walking back and forth and that atmosphere. It's a little cramped in some ways, but that's a good thing.
I think so
keeps
too.
it connected.
Absolutely.
And I love the theater seating. It's very comfy and I don't know. And I think as Digital Nova Scotia, I think obviously we tend to focus on Nova Scotia, but this really is an event for the region, which is nice. So you'll also get to network with companies as in New Brunswick, PEI, things like that. So
Wicked. Love it. Atlantic Technology Summit. I guess ultimately then, what do you hope people take away from it at the end of the day when they're leaving after taking part in this entire day of networking? What do you hope that they're thinking when they leave?
I think I could take that in two directions. I think so. The first one is just from a theme perspective in the content. I hope that they come away with something that's valuable that helps them in their work, in their career, in their organization, to be more human focused in how they deal with the technology, right? Then from the personal side of things, I hope they come away with a feeling of, hey, that was a fun day, that was an educational day. I met these 5 people, I did this, so I think there's two sides of it, and if they can come away with one, it would be great. If they can come away with both, even better. Yeah.
Nice. Kind of in line with that, then, what advice would you give to somebody who maybe hasn't attended or has, but obviously this is a different lineup? What advice would you give them so that they do get the most out of their time at this event?
Get your ticket early, book the time off in your calendar to make sure it's not rushed and last minute, because in IT, anything can happen, so it can be hard, right? So make sure you've got the time dedicated, plan to be there, get there early, and make sure you engage with the people that are there. Those would be the things, because it's, I hear, every year I hear from people, I'm going to come, and then something comes up. And that's okay, that happens, life happens. But I think if you've planned to be there, you've got it set aside, it's easier to make it happen then. And then when you're there, actually being a participant and engaging with people. We do also have an event app, which can help with some of the networking stuff. So making sure you follow the instructions to download that and be part of that community as well, that helps.
And those instructions are on the website.
When you buy a ticket, they're sent to you. Yeah.
So also, just out of curiosity, you said there's kind of a track specific for students. So there'll obviously be a lot of students coming there. I remember being a student and just being something like networking, just nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I don't know, any advice for those folks who are a little bit hesitant to put themselves out there, I don't know, what would you tell them?
What I would say is those things are scarier when you're doing it on your own.
Yeah.
Right? You're in a big group here. There's a lot of people in the community doing the same thing. So feed off the energy. Look for someone that isn't talking to anybody currently, and just go up and say hi. Everybody is there for that same reason, to network and chat. Even if they're not a student, if they're a vendor or a local business leader, they are there to be part of the community. So take in the energy and just put yourself out there. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. And it is a very supportive industry. Working at DNS for the past 2 years now and just being immersed in it, everyone is so nice and willing to help. And
if I've had it before where 3 or 4 people have come up and said hi. Yeah. That's okay too. You can be part of a group that has a conversation. Yeah.
Nice. Again, it just all comes back to that connection.
Yeah.
It's very human-centric.
I have a personal question for you, because this is the 6th year and you've really been at the helm of it. What's your favorite part about this event?
It's while it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's while it's actually happening and it's
being executed and you can see it in the rear view.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we changed that this time and it worked better and people are actually enjoying it and it's going. Yeah. And there's always things that crop up that have to happen on the day of, and that's okay. But when it's all come together, when it's in the flow and the process, that's the best time for me. Yeah.
So are you, and I'm kind of getting this spot, so by all means correct me if I'm wrong, the day happens, you are about to go home, hit the pillow, it was great, things went so well.
Yeah.
Are you immediately switching into, okay, next year?
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Because how many people usually come out?
We are around 500.
Yeah, that's a big event.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's not a small list by any means.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, but we've got, we really do have a great committee, a great team of people that make it all happen. And there's also a lot of help from DNS. You guys have been great supporters over the years and really appreciate that. And it wouldn't happen without that support from everybody. So it's not, it is a big lift, but again, lots of people make it happen. So,
yeah. Do you happen to know, like, I don't expect you to give me like numbers or anything, but do you happen to know how many people like travel in for this event, like across the region?
Yeah, so I don't know exact numbers. I think like last year we maybe 50 or 60 from outside of Nova Scotia.
Interesting.
So mostly New Brunswick, PEI.
Yeah.
So not small.
That's incredible.
We have an interesting kind of thing that we're playing with where, so during the pandemic, we did it virtually, and we actually went up to like 800 attendees across the region virtually.
Okay.
When we came back in person and we did a hybrid event, we lost all the virtual attendees, right? Which was not surprising, but a shame, right? Because I think we had like 15 like that virtually, right? So that made it kind of not financially, doesn't make sense to do the virtual platform because it's expensive.
Right.
So we're trying to find ways to bring those people back in from across the region.
Because there's obviously interest.
There is interest. And so whether or not next year we take it and do it in Moncton, potentially, we go back and forth as a group, and it's a question, or maybe we could run a satellite event in Moncton where people can go there and view it from there, or Fredericton. Moncton's maybe not the only place we could do it from, but
of course,
different ideas, right? Because we want to get the community engaged again. But I think it is hard for people as well, right? Because Atlantic Canada's a big geography, and we've even had people flying from Newfoundland before.
Really?
So it does happen. Not a lot, but 7 or 8, I would say.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And vendors, you mentioned about, that they kind of span far and wide as well.
Yeah.
Are there any returning this year that are from outside of the Atlantic region that you're really excited about too?
Yeah, we've got, I don't have the list, but we have some really good sponsors that come back year after year. Compugen are one that I can think of. I used to work there, so they've always been big supporters. But
I love Compugen.
Yeah. But there's been some great ones. Trend Micro, Fortinet have been there over the years. Zoho.
I'm trying to think who was right. I know I was like Zoho because I know they don't have a presence here.
Yeah.
Who else was beside us? I think Checkpoint was beside us.
Checkpoint have been big supporters as well.
RBC's always there. Like there's a good.
There's a good support from the local organizations as well, like League Data.
Yeah.
So I think.
And there's like snacks and stuff too, which is always fun.
Snacks, refreshing popcorn in the afternoon.
I know.
At the end of the day, that's really what matters.
I know.
It is.
I mean, it's like you're learning about tech, but you get the full movie theater experience as well.
You do. Yeah.
And for someone who hasn't, I haven't actually gone to a movie since like before COVID.
Right.
And I feel bad saying that. I should support the local theater, but it's just,
I know. I feel the same way.
But we are by going to the tech center.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's also nothing better than movie theater popcorn.
I know.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, it's a good way to end the day.
Yeah.
What I should have probably asked right off the jump was hit us with the logistics. When do tickets need to be purchased? Like, when's the deadline for that? Is there a cost? Like, let's get all the nitty-gritty details out there so that folks know.
Because by this point, they're like, I have to be there.
Right, exactly.
So tickets are for sale on the website, atlantictechsummit.com. But there's student ticket pricing, there's general admission ticket pricing. So get the ticket. The opening remarks are normally around 8:45 in the morning, day of. So plan to be there, 8 a.m. Sometimes there's a bit of a lineup to get registered. We're working on improving that this year. But then get there early, get some early networking in. So there's always breakfast and coffee. And then, I think 4:30 was the end of the day. So there's an hour for lunch. There's snacks in the afternoon. We have a 10-minute gap between each session. So a logistical thing to kind of keep in mind.
And DNS members get a discount code too, right?
They do, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a member and you're listening and you really want to go this year, I mean, definitely hit up our team and we can share that with you. Yeah.
Cool.
Excellent.
Okay, well, listen, if all of that conversation hasn't encouraged people to get their tickets and to attend this event, I don't know what will. I mean, you've got incredible vendors, incredible networking opportunity, snacks. We've said snacks so many times, we have to mention it again. So with all of that in mind, I think that's it for our questions about the summit. Is there anything that you would like to highlight that we didn't talk about, whether it's summit related or with your role at Gallagher? It's yours.
You know what? Probably not. You covered a lot. No, I really appreciate the opportunity. It's I love being part of the tech community here, and I love seeing it grow. And it's just wonderful to keep seeing it move forward. So yeah, thank you very much for all the work that you all do at DNS, and yeah, long may it continue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Recorded by This Is Marketing, unblanding branding since 2015.